Good evening, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Patricia Roxanne Hammond, coming to you live from our studios at Kwabenya Point 1. This is NEWSBOARD. Let's take a look at the headlines in Ghana and around the world. In the wake of rising security threats, government is assured of systems set up against security threats. Minister for Roads and Highways is wooing the support of road contractors for the government's controversial 1.75% electronic levy. GRA boss addresses issues of default in payment of taxes by OMCs at Park Sitting. And Senegal's football team have been given a hero's welcome upon their return home after winning the African Cup of Nations for the first time. You can also watch us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at NewTVGH. And now to the details. Early warning systems, including maritime coordination centers, have been set up to pick intelligence on potential security threats to the country. Measures are also being put in place to establish an Accra initiative for coastal states and communities where the leadership of the security services will meet periodically to review the security situations in coastal areas. They will also share intelligence to prevent security threats, particularly among economic community of West African states that share common borders.
We have provided leadership to address the sources of division and instability in our member states. This has also involved engaging in mediation and facilitation processes, bringing the various parties involved together to explore viable solutions and tackle national crisis that has the potential to affect us all. In my capacity as chair of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers, I have been active, playing mediation and good offices roles in West African states at the behest of the Authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government. Since last year, I personally have led many ECOWAS missions to Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso, which are aimed at resolving the political crisis in those countries. My ministry also facilitated the organization of the emergency summits, which were convened by His Excellency the President, who is chair of the ECOWAS Authority, on the situations in the ECOWAS member states concerned. In the midst of the various crises, we successfully led ECOWAS to agree to a reform of its institutional structure, including the reduction of the number of commissioners and a substantial reduction in its budget.
The Minister for Roads and Highways is courting the support of road contractors for the government's controversial 1.75% electronic transaction levy. According to the minister, their support for the levy will help in raising more revenue, part of which will be used to pay road contractors owed by the government.
What we have to do as a people is to hold government accountable, that if we pay this money, we want to see the direct benefits of the money that we are going to pay. That is the way we should go, and not to resist. We are not prepared to raise monies to help in the building of our infrastructure. Who should come and do it for us? We want good things, but we don't want to pay. And because of politics, and because of love for power, people are saying all kinds of things. Ghana will never be better unless we are prepared to pay taxes and we are prepared to sacrifice to build our country. Otherwise, you will continue at ABC. So, I expect that contractors, government is doing everything possible to pay you, but you continue to work. So, the more government tries to pay, the more you also work, and the debt is always there. If e-levy comes, we get our fair share into the road sector. Within a very short time, all outstanding contractors' debts will be paid, and you can work more for this country. You can work more for this country, and we expect you to speak. You are going to be the direct beneficiaries, and every serious government will not joke with contractors. Because the construction industry is where from the unskilled to the skilled. People are employed. If you want money to circulate very well in your country, pay contractors.
The Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor has inaugurated a committee to review the health and safety conditions in the mining sector. In the enforcement of the President's assurance of reform in the mining industry after the Apiate explosion, the sector minister has formed a committee to help in the drive.
Terms of reference of the committee are as follows. 1. To undertake a general review of the health and safety regime in the mining industry. 2. To review the existing laws, regulations, and guidelines on health and safety standards in the mining industry. 3. To inquire into any matter relating to health and safety in the mining industry. And 4. To make recommendations to government for legislative, policy, and other reforms it may deem fit. The committee has 1 month from today to present its report, and they may co-opt or form committees where necessary. I am confident that with the experiences of the members assembled, they will deliver on this task. The International Labour Organization reports that while the mining industry employs some 1% of global workforce, it generates about 8% of fatal accidents. We must work to change this narrative. The vision of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to make Ghana the mining hub of Africa, requires that we build, here in Ghana, a robust, safe, and healthy mining and mine support services that pose no risk to life and property.
The 5-member committee of inquiry has been tasked to review the health and safety standards in the mining sector in the country. The committee is headed by the Vice Chancellor of the George Grant University of Mines and Technology, Professor Richard Amankwa.
We realize that this is a big opportunity, and we take hold of it, and we promise to do a good job. And for some time now, Apiate has been associated with a disaster. And I'm happy that out of this disaster, the Honorable Minister has set up this committee to change the dynamics of the health and safety standards in the field. And I believe that very soon, Apiate will not only be about disaster, but also about reforms. As a committee, we would do broad consultations, both in Ghana and outside Ghana, and make an effort, a very conscious effort, to develop a document that will stand the test of time and help the nation to work very well regarding health and safety standards, and also be of support to the mining industry and also the communities in the mining community setups.
And on to some business stories. Government of Ghana says it is finding it very difficult to accept Moodys' downgrade of Ghana's credit rating. The government has therefore rejected Moodys' downgrade of the country's credit rating. Moodys downgraded Ghana's long-term issuer and senior unsecured debt rating to CAA1 from B3 and changed the outlook to stable from negative. It said the new rating reflects the woes of Ghana in fixing its liquidity and debt challenges. Moody further attributed the rating to the country's ineffective revenue generation.
According to Moody, the downgrade to CAA1 reflects the increasingly difficult task the government faces addressing its intertwined liquidity and debt challenges. Weak revenue generation constraints government's budget flexibility, and tight funding conditions on international markets have forced the government to rely on costly debt with shorter maturity. However, the Finance Ministry, in a statement issued Sunday, February 6, 2022, said it is puzzled by Moody's ratings of the country, albeit the recent fiscal consolidation measures announced by the government. The Finance Ministry said Moody failed to agree to its appeal and went ahead with its rating.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Asamoah, appeared before the Public Accounts Committee on Monday, 7th February, to answer questions relating to activities within the GRA.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't see any calculation of penalty on this one, as we found in the previous one, or this doesn't attract penalty. GRA, this aspect from paragraph 65, it doesn't attract a penalty.
Honorable, it does attract penalties, but what happens, as I said in the initial stages, we normally work the penalties and spread it over and as and when the OMC, or for that matter, the taxpayer is paying, he pays with the penalty and the interest.
So I take it that on this 597,220 Ghana cedi, there will be penalty calculations on it, which we will later see payments of penalty on these amounts.
It is, in some cases, it's interest and penalties. In some cases, so whatever the case is, the case may be, we do add and do collect. And so we will have shown that we have collected the tax plus the interest and or penalties.
What did Goyle say their problem was? Because in looking at your response, I saw something to do with Goyle.
Surely they didn't give us the full details, or I don't recall it, full details of the challenges as at the time. But for now, we can say that they have paid the outstanding amount, and we have provided documents to that effect.
What was their difficulty, sir, in providing the documents? Because we know there should be documentation of things in the oil and gas chain. What was their difficulty?
Honorable, it was basically an issue of late submission of the documents, but subsequently have submitted the documents.
Mr. Chairman, I think that should be all for.
We'll be right back with more news after this break. Welcome back. And on to some international news. Hundreds of Moroccans have gathered to pay their last respect to little Rayan, the 5-year-old boy who died after being trapped in a well for 4 days. Rayan Oram fell down the 32-meter well on 1st February, prompting painstaking efforts to rescue him. The rescue efforts garnered media attention worldwide.
Hundreds of mourners attended his funeral on Monday in his home village where the tragedy unfolded. There were so many people that they could not all fit in the Hilltop Cemetery and prayer site in the Northern Rift Mountains. When the boy was finally pulled out from the well on Saturday evening, his apparent rescue was initially met with cheers from crowds by the well. But this turned to heartbreak minutes later when it was announced that the rescue was too late and that Ryan had died. The rescue mission had been watched across the world, and soon after death was announced, tribute poured in. On social media, where the hashtag #SaveRyan had been trending, people expressed their sympathy and sadness. Morocco's king called the parents of the boy and offered them his deepest condolences. Pope Francis, while expressing his sadness, praised the, quote, beautiful way people had, quote, worked together to save a child.
French President Emmanuel Macron has said the coming days will be crucial to the de-escalating the Ukraine standoff after a meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Mr. Putin hinted that progress had been made during his first Moscow summit with the Western leaders since Russian troops marched up at Ukraine borders. Moscow has denied any plans to invade. However, Western powers have become increasingly concerned by the possibility of a conflict.
U.S. officials said on Sunday that Russia has assembled 70% of military forces needed for a full-scale invasion. On Monday, President Joe Biden met the German chancellor in Washington and threatened to shut down a key Russian gas pipeline to Germany if Moscow invaded Ukraine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has also indicated his support for sanctions. He added that the UK was considering deploying Royal Air Force fighters and Royal Navy warships, quote, to protect southern Eastern Europe. Western countries have already rejected a number of Moscow's demands, including that the NATO Defense Alliance rule out Ukraine becoming a member and that it reduce its military presence in Eastern Europe. They have instead suggested other areas of negotiation, for example, talks on cutting back nuclear weaponry.
18 people have been rescued after becoming stranded on an ice floe in Lake Erie in Ohio, USA. The group were riding snowmobiles and all-terrain vehicles on the frozen lake when the ice sheet broke away near Katoba Island.
11 members of the stranded groups were rescued by a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter and airboat on Sunday. Authorities thanked the Good Samaritan who assisted the remaining 7 back to safety in a private airboat. The group was spotted on the floating sheet of ice by a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, which began its rescue at 1800 GMT on Sunday. Emergency services were ready and waiting for them back on dry land, but none of the rescue group required medical assistance. The U.S. Coast Guard advises those planning recreational trips to the frozen lake to come properly equipped with ice picks or screwdrivers in case they fall through the ice and need to self-rescue.
And on some sports stories, Senegal's football team have been given a hero's welcome upon their return home after winning the African Cup of Nations for the first time. Tens of thousands of ecstatic revelers celebrated the players' return to Dakar, sitting on top of cars and dancing in the capital street.
The president of Senegal was among those greeting the team at the airport. When the coach raised the trophy cup from the roof of the team's victory bus, crowds cheered in delight. Players were transported inside and on top of a coach along a packed parade route to the center of Dakar. These celebrations began straight after the final whistle on Sunday night, seconds after Liverpool's Sadio Mane sealed the history victory over Egypt on penalties. People poured onto the streets of Dakar, dancing and fireworks in the air. The authorities proceeded to declare Monday a national holiday.
Premier League leaders Asante Kotoko tasted their second defeat of the season following a hard-fought 2-1 victory by Elmina Sharks at the Indom Stadium.
The Porcupine Warriors took a deserved lead in the 39th minute of the delayed 16th week Premier League duel through Dixon Afokwa, and also had a chance to restore parity late in the game, but a spot kick by the Cameroonian import was saved by the goalkeeper, to the pleasure of the vocal home fans.
And on to some entertainment news. The Oscar nominations will be announced this week with an expanded Best Picture category, which it is hoped will make room for a wide range of films. The Power of the Dog, Belfast and West Side Story are among the films expected to pick up multiple nominations.
The Academy has confirmed that the ceremony will have a host this year, but has not yet revealed who it will be. There is pressure to make the Oscars more popular with and relevant to young audiences after 2021's Pared Down ceremony tanked in the ratings, partly due to the absence of big film releases during the lockdown. There is only one guarantee ahead of the nominations, with far more big films in the race this year and only a limited number of slots available. Several high-profile films and their stars will inevitably miss out. Equally, we could see some lower-profile films spring surprise nominations.
Celebrated high-life musician Kojo Entry, who is known for his smooth stagecraft, ability to pull and control crowd, will be performing a pre-Valentine musical bash dubbed Kojo Entry Live in Takoradi on February 12 at the Kingston Hotel in the Oil City. The event has been packaged to give music fans a memorable occasion that goes beyond dishing out thrilling, outstanding performance for the night.
The evergreen Kojo Entry, with his rich discography, will be treating patrons on the night to classics from his 11th studio album. The organizers of the event have promised that the night is sure to trigger fond memories of lovers and leave couples with impacting moments that will stay on their minds for years to come. The event is anticipated to be historic. Among events being organized to celebrate Valentine's Day, Kojo Entry Live in Takoradi stands unique, as it seeks to draw diverse personalities, including business people, doctors, legal practitioners, students, and above all, authentic Ghanaian music lovers.
And that's it for NEWSBOARD. Let's take a look again at our headlines. In the wake of rising security threats, government is assured of systems set up against security threats. Minister for Roads and Highways is weighing the support of road contractors for the government's controversial 1.75% electronic levy. GRA boss addresses issues of default in payment of taxes by OMCs at Park Sitting. And Senegal's football team have been given a hero's welcome upon their return home after winning the African Cup of Nations for the first time. Thanks for watching. My name is Patricia Roxanne Hammond. We came to you live from our studios at Kwabenya Point 1. Good evening.